my goal is to foster a collaborative culture with an abundance mindset. And if you don't have that, it kind of makes you ill to be around it, right? If you don't feel there's enough business for everybody, and you don't want to share your listings for open houses for other agents, or you don't want to share maybe your buyer consult paperwork or the documents you leave in your listing, you're not going to make it, and they'll just leave. They weed themselves out.
Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast. Today, Tanya Cosmini joined me on episode 97. She had just launched Realty One Group Elevate and had big goals, big plans. Today, we're checking in what's happened since, what's changed, and what she's learned about running a brokerage that you can't learn any other way. Please welcome Tanya Cosmini to the show.
Oh my gosh, Tracy, thank you so much. I'm really excited to come back. That was quite an honor.
I'm excited you come back because I really thought, this is really going to be a good show because we always talk about a new agent getting started. What did you learn? All that kind of stuff. And you went from a top producing solo agent by yourself to opening your own brokerage, and which I'm sure there's a lot of agents that out there, like they have maybe an aspiration or a thought about doing that, and you're there, and you've been now almost 4 years, closing on 4 years. So we want to learn what you've learned.
Wow, a lot. I would say that, what do they say? Hindsight's 20/20.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't what I thought. And that's both good and bad, right? You can look at anything and say, all right, I thought it was going to be this, and now it's that. And that's really what it is. I went into it thinking I was going to like guns blazing, like defend the agents every day on all these like crazy things. And it's really not like that, for the most part. Real estate's kind of calm and easy, and it's
like saving their deals
like left and right and whatever. And because I didn't have that before, and when I had some problems in real estate, I didn't have a broker that really defended me, and that always disappointed me. And I always like to learn from how I was treated to treat somebody differently.
Speak to that a little bit of what you found by some of the agents, because I imagine a lot of them had your same experience, or even new agents that never really worked for anybody else but you.
Sure.
When you are obviously willing and stepping in, what is some of the feedback that you've gotten from that?
All super positive. Like literally just last week, one of the agents called in tears, right? Because there's feelings in real estate, right? Because there's money. And she was like, hey, Tanya, one of my customers is going to call you. He's threatening to call my broker. And I was like, bring it on. Let him call me. Can't wait to hear from him. She told me the situation. And of course, it had to do with compensation, right? It's always about money. And it was just a not understanding that, right, as all the realtors know, you can't get paid more than what's in your buyer broker agreement, but we can get paid less. So she had agreed to get paid less. Her BBA was for one amount. The agreement was for a lesser amount. So they send out the modification, the buyer broker agreement. And he understood it as a combination of the monies, as she was getting, we'll just pretend 10%, just to make it up. And he was
bananas. We'll say bananas.
10 bananas. Like Patty said.
Yeah, Patty said
10 bananas.
That's what Patty.
And he was like, I'm not going to do that. You're wrong. You guys are unethical. I'm not going to combine the monies. And he was so frantic that he wasn't listening. And, he was cussing at me. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And, I left the conversation with, hey, I'm going to send you a summary of our conversation with the dates and the correlation of those documents, explaining that this is actually here to protect you because we could actually collect the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't respond to any of it, but she left it feeling empowered, which is really all I care about. Is that she felt supported, that she knew that in a time when a customer's threatening to call her broker, that her broker is going to answer the phone, going to explain the situation, and just be there in her corner.
Yeah, because I imagine, we know there's great brokers in the area, but there's probably twice as many ones that are really not staying out in front, are not quick to answer the phone. I've heard that, I think in our business, how many times have I heard, just answer the phone, you'll get deals.
Correct.
Well, I mean, obviously, a big part of yours, you recruit, but you also retention is just as big as recruiting because you can't be letting them go out the back door. And part of that is putting yourself out in front and be willing to take that phone call and get on the phone with a client at 8, 9 o'clock at night if that's what you have to do to calm them down.
Of course. And I tell the agents that, hey, listen, just like I don't answer the phone when I'm sitting with you, I might not answer your call right away, but I will get back to you super, super quickly, right? Time in front of somebody is really important. You don't want to, hey, let me see who that is, checking your little, I stopped wearing one for that reason because it's like an addiction checking it.
Yeah.
So, I try to put my phone away. I'll glance at it. I'm a single mom. My kids are really important to me. It's the only people I answer for are the kids. But I will always get back to you as quickly as I can. And if it's been a long time, I might say to the person I'm sitting with, hey, blah, blah, blah from the brokerage called me. I'm just going to shoot them a quick text message, just make sure it isn't an emergency. And they're like, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They understand because I do try to take as much time as I can with them because whatever they called about to them is an emergency and is important. And I want to give them the time they deserve for that.
Well, people that are in front of you know you're a leader, and that's what you've got to do. Your job is to, hey, I need to step out because I got to take this call. One of my people need me.
Correct. I try to as much as I can.
Yeah. So that's
hopefully no one calls me right now.
You said, I don't know how you phrased it. Obviously, you had a vision, an expectation,
sure,
but it wasn't that.
Yeah,
to explain what was your vision, and then what did you find out wasn't all that?
So it's so hard to quantify. I guess I thought there would be more problems, for lack of a better word, or more fights. I don't know. I guess it's I'm kind of scrappy, so I just thought there'd be more of that.
Well,
but
do you think
there hasn't been, which is so good, right? I'm so happy that there actually hasn't been. But I just imagined there'd be more. In all fairness, it's a lot of. I'm going to actually say it's because I've trained them well.
Well, right? That's what I was going to go to. Are you being, maybe it's because your proactiveness and having been in the trenches and you still doing your own deals, that you are foreshadowing issues and you're covering them early for them.
And I think that's a big part of it. So there's a couple of things we do that I think sets us apart. And you hit on one of them. And I get a lot of criticism out there for it. And I'm going to say it today. I sell real estate. Mm-hmm. I've done research on it. There's about 96% of broker owners that sell real estate. About 24% of them hide it. I'm not going to hide it. It's not who I am. I'm transparent about everything I do.
Then people are questioning
I'm not going to hide it.
If you're hiding, well, you told us you weren't doing deals, but you just did a couple deals over here. What's going on? That just makes everyone start to second guess your overall integrity.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's reasons I sell real estate, but really the number one reason is how can I help you as an agent sell real estate? How can I navigate the contract with all the changes and the climate of real estate changing if I'm not practicing it, right? Real estate is a practice. It's not, you're never going to master it. I don't care who says it is. They do it, stay away. Right? But it's a practice, right? The customer changes. The agents change. And if I don't hear it and feel it and see it, I can't help them properly. And so I'm proud that I still sell real estate, because I'm able to help them with the contracts. I'm able to commiserate with them when things don't go as planned.
Well, knowing in this one particular broker, I mention Howard all the time because sure. I feel he's not in the producing category, but he does a lot every day to constantly be pouring into his agents. So he has to find things that are out there that he feels that, where you're actually experiencing them because you're going down the same road sure. with them. And as Tom says a lot of times, you got to keep your hand on the electric fence. It's when you release,
sure.
you're no longer feeling the current through the fence anymore. You start to, distance yourself.
Yeah, it's like keeping your pulse on the market.
Yeah.
Like literally and physically. And I use it as, it helps the agents too, right? It allows them, for instance, right now I have a listing in a neighborhood that one of the agents lives in. So her sign's there, right? It gives her presence in the neighborhood. It makes her feel really good that she's able to do that because it's a brokerage listing. So mm-hmm. anyone's sign can be there. Right. That's within the brokerage. But it looks like it's
giving her street cred, and then people are going to go by. Oh, that's a neighbor. Oh, she lives over a couple streets over.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot of other people that give those opportunities to their agents. I don't want my signs in yards.
Yeah.
I'm not growing a real estate business, but I love that my business can support them. That's my goal for my agents.
Yeah, I don't like the Well, in that you see some stuff, right, about people have got, they say, I'm out of production. To me, that takes just, if not probably more work when you're out of production to keep the credibility and the pulse on what's going on, the issues that are going on. And especially if you're trying to get off the ground, I think you probably say you 4 years, you're probably not off the end of the runway yet. You're not really truly flying that your great aspirations that you have dreamed about. So you've got to get there, and the only way is for you to keep experiencing, see what's going on, and be out there in the interacting. I mean, I'm sure you've tried to recruit agents who have been on the other side of some of your deals. I mean,
Absolutely.
That's just a natural
and I have.
thing. Yeah.
For sure. You know, like they see what I'm like, I see what they're like, or the other way around. I have not, recruited agents on the other side because I don't like the way they, interact with people.
Yeah.
And that's okay too, right? Not every brokerage is for everybody. That's the most amazing part about all of this, is that all these different brokerages have different platforms and different ways of doing things, and it's not a one-fit-all shop.
So 2 big things, and I believe you might have a couple things to add to this list, but from an outsider looking in, 2 main categories, obviously retention, we mentioned that, keeping the agents that you have, keeping them satisfied, and to take your brokerage to where you want to go. And I know you had some great aspirations when we originally spoke. Recruiting, what have you learned about that?
The number one thing I've learned is, it's so much harder is a tough word, but it is harder than I thought. It's a longer game than I thought. The majority of the agents that I've been recruiting that have joined, it's been like a 1 to 2 year cycle. Like, it's been that long and that many conversations. In my mind, it's like we meet once and you sign the dotted line.
Let's go.
Not happening, pretty much ever, which is fascinating to me, because that's not how I joined brokerages. I guess I maybe did my research differently, and by the time I met with that broker, I'd probably already made my decision that I did sign almost immediately. So it's just been very fascinating to just see how that transgression, it's just been so different. Yeah. That process has just been so significantly different than I thought. Well, that's been the toughest lesson has been to understand the recruiting cycle, I guess.
Yeah, from the agents who you've approached might be cold turkey. In other words, they weren't even thinking of moving. And then you're coming in talking and say, hey, what's going on? So that I could see them going, well, should I move? What do I need? Versus obviously someone who already has reasons to move, is probably going to move a little bit quicker. Because I imagine you've run into both situations.
Oh, sure. So I'm going to say some things that brokers say. We say all agents have one foot out the door at all times. All agents are about to leave.
They're looking for the greener grass on the other side.
All the time. Yeah. I know a lot of you guys out there are like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that. But I know you're constantly getting recruited. I know you're getting phone calls and emails and text messages from tons of brokers. And it doesn't matter if your business is doing really well or not doing well. They're recruiting you for both reasons. Either way, they're going to tell you, wow, you're doing so well, you should move over here because our product is better. Or, oh gosh, you're not doing well, it's because you're a broker, you should move over here because we're better. So it's just a very interesting phenomenon. The whole recruiting situation, I would say that has been the hardest lesson to learn, is no realtors move quickly, whether they're successful and they're doing well or the opposite. And their reasonings are all over the map. I can't say, oh, it's always because of this or it's always because of that. It's a million different things. It's quite fast because I'm an analyst.
Well, they're all running their business differently. They all have different issues in life. And then they're human, so they all have what they think is important to them. And their business is all different.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm very analytical. My background's in science, so I have I keep notes. And so I have the reasons, and if there's no rhyme or reason to it, it's sometimes I like who sits next to me.
How do you stay in front? Because I imagine in 4 years it's evolved, changed. What are some of the top 2 or 3 reasons why they are changing brokerage, and blend into that? Because I imagine there's same reasons of why they should be changing their brokerage, and they may not even be thinking about it because they just don't know.
Absolutely. So overall, the number one reason why agents change brokerage is support. And that support is very broad. It could be support of technology. It could be support of their broker. It could be support of the admin support of whatever's happening at the office. but that support is generally why they leave. And so usually it's an agent that, you've been talking to for a while, and it's just a straw that broke the camel's back. They had a deal going to hell in a handbasket, and they call and no one answers.
Yeah.
And then they're done. Tanya, I've called you 10 times. I'm coming over right now. I mean, that's like probably the number one way I get agents is because I do answer the phone. I'm very honest about
agents working with another brokerage called you for your knowledge. You helped them out, and
oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm not going to say their names, but I can list 10 agents selling 15 to 20 million that call me weekly because their broker isn't available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At what point do you finally say, why don't you just come over to my shop?
So it's so
you have to close the deal eventually.
So right there is so weird, and I would love to get them all together in a little cohort.
What's it going to take to cut you come
ask
over?
Them. And whenever I say that, I don't hear from them for a while, right?
Yeah.
I hurt their feelings or something, or make it uncomfortable. And I'm not trying to make it uncomfortable because obviously I'm helping them because I think they're a great agent. I think they'd be a great fit for the brokerage. Obviously, they need help that they're not getting, and I want to be that support system for them. And I guess I must remind them that I'm not their broker. And they're like, well, shit, I've been calling the wrong person. And they don't want that reminder. And so I don't do it I don't do it often. And sometimes when they call me and I can't answer the phone, I'll text them and say, hey, I'm with one of my agents.
Yeah.
And that I think is enough to remind them, because I do love helping the agents. Something I'm very proud to say that the agents know and that I know is I am obsessive about the contract.
I'm really curious. You go to somebody for their knowledge once, twice, 3 times now you're pushing it. If they're regularly calling you once a month or whatever it may be, maybe once a quarter, it's because, how often does an agent call their broker, as you find out, it's not every deal. They don't need to call you on every deal.
No.
And, they're asking you for your knowledge and your experience. I could see where they would say, hey, Tanya, but the technology or something over there at that other brokerage is just so much better than to actually say, you know what, Tanya's got my back. I'm going to have her back. Because in reality, you and I know the brokerage sign is not what's getting them deals.
Absolutely not.
It's them, their branding, and so forth. Now they look better when they've got the support that you give out. But why? To me, it's being a little selfish. So I'll say it, and you don't have to. I think if you're calling any broker, whether it's Tanya or anyone else, is not your broker regularly to save your deals because your broker won't answer the phone. You need to check up from the neck up.
Or some of it is that they don't feel their broker knows what they need help with. I get that a lot. They're like, oh, I sat with you in a contract class and, you knew the answers. They're like, I don't know if my broker even knows what a purchase and sale agreement is, And I'm like, hey, I love the contract. Do you want to sit down and talk about it? Like, I know the line numbers and I do love it. Like, I am a dork about it, and a geek. You can win deals and protect your customers by knowing the contract. So if agents out there, if you don't feel like you know the contract, learn it.
What are you finding? Because we kind of covered question number 1 was there's no defined reason. I think my question before was what was 2 or 3 things that's making them come over. I don't think we actually got to 2 or 3 distinct things. One was support was the general answer. Yeah. What are you seeing? Since obviously it's a hot topic, I believe it's where a lot of the big names are going to. The Compass. Well, now Compass is a huge family now.
Correct.
Name brokerages that aren't under Compass's
right, yeah.
Compass
Umbrella.
Holdings now. Compass International Holdings. Technology. Obviously, a lot of people went over to Real. That's run by a technology guy and so forth. What are some of the things? I don't believe every agent's actually using the technology. They may say technology, but most of them aren't even really using the technology that's actually being provided.
You're 100% right. And so something that we're really proud about at Realty One Group is that we have really supportive technology that's very comparable to Reels and to Compasses. It's just that we don't feel it's going to replace the agent. So it works hand in hand with you as an agent. So we have AI built into all our platforms that are there to support you. We have a growth coach built in for your goals. So let's just say you've been selling $3 million a year and your goal is to sell $5 million. You literally have a conversation with the growth coach and say, hey, this is what I've been doing. What are things I can do? And it gives you suggestions, and then as you enter your transactions in, it keeps you up to date. And the other nice thing is then I'm able to see it and see what's going on. So we have great technology, and I don't really know if agents move and groove for the technology, because I'm a data person, right? They say about 36% of agents actually use the tech provided by their brokerage.
Yeah.
They might in their mind help. It might be like the cherry on top of the sundae that is the reason why they're like, oh, okay, I'll move because I really like the tech. But most top producing agents have their own shit that they're using. And are they really going to morph it all over?
Well, that they've obviously over years
You know what I mean?
of using it, and it's produced fruit for them, so they just keep working that play.
Correct.
Over and over again. I think, there's this, well, you mean how many phone calls you get, how many emails you get every week, mailers probably, I'm sure, to the brokerage, of every little trinket.
You mean shiny objects?
Shiny objects,
The
yes.
shiny object
the
syndrome?
yes, exactly.
Okay. My favorite part about realtors is shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
I suffered. I'm in recovery. I'm in recovery of shiny object syndrome. You didn't ask me this question, but I'm going to answer it. People always ask, like, what's the secret sauce in real estate, right? Like, what makes you successful? Like, why or how is it going to make an agent successful? And it's really boring. And it is not a shiny object. It's not a system. It's not a coach. It's not a script. All it is consistency. That's it. But it's consistency in something, consistency in calls, consistency in open houses, consistency in your sphere. But if you're consistent with those things, you'll be successful. That's it.
You've got to find that. Well, like you said, you just said, some of the older agents are, they got their own things because they found their own system.
Correct.
And they're being consistent on it, and it continues to bear fruit, so they just keep driving.
So they're
driving,
consistent
driving.
with it. It's literally the secret sauce in life.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to get strong and have the muscles,
right,
you have to what? Consistently lift weights. Do you know what I mean? It's really not mind-blowing, but when you think about it, it's what's going to help you with anything. Like if you want to lose weight, you got to consistently eat better. I mean, it's not, again, mind-blowing, but if you think about it, that's all you need to be successful in whatever it is you're trying to get better at, is just be consistent with it.
What's the chatter imagine, there's different things come out that some of the agents are talking about, maybe you don't have, or maybe it's talk of stuff coming down the pipe. I don't know. What's the scuttlebutt amongst the agents as far as what they think they need from a tech standpoint?
Oh, gosh. They need some type of AI bot, right? They need and we have it, but you've got to teach it, right? You've got to train it.
You got to start talking to it.
You got to have it do the things. You've got to set it up properly. Automation, right? They all want automation. But what happens when it says the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Because it might. It has a bad day. It's not. I mean, it's a computer. It might not say what you asked it to.
We've had calculators for decades, but that doesn't mean we stop teaching the math, because you need to know.
Correct.
Pretty much what's going on in the background of what that calculator is calculating.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, and I've been saying it all month. This month marks 20 years in real estate. 20 years. All real estate's about is conversations, right? So can those conversations be a text message or an AI bot thing? Absolutely. But at some point, I'm going to pull it out. It's a magic thing. There's this phone, and you do this thing like this. Hi. You have to call people. I know it's scary. We're not used to talking to people, but you've got to have conversations, a real one. At some point, text isn't going to work anymore. And you've got to have a real conversation with people to close a deal.
Tech can help you remind you of those conversations, create the situations to have those conversations. But like you said, ultimately, are you using your CRM that's sending out, regular communications, but you got to insert yourself somewhere along those lines. It cannot just do everything yourself.
Correct.
Eventually,
because it can't replace you. That's why you have to talk to them.
Right.
They can't for you yet.
Brand new agent walking through your door, what does your actual coaching look like in the first 90 days?
Absolutely. I love this. So I always tell them it's slow fast. I know that sounds really weird, but the agent comes in and they're ready. They're I'm going to close the deal in the next 30 days. And I would love that for them. But I always tell them you need a strong foundation. Once that foundation is really good, you'll be set up for life. And I'm saying that because no one told me that. I'm so disappointed in how I was trained because no one allowed me to have a strong foundation. So I had to do things backwards and pay people to set things up properly because it wasn't like that. So the first 90 days is just a lot of training and coaching on like simple things like how to log into the MLS and which MLS to join based on, where you live, because, there's NEFAR and St. Augustine. Do I need both? Why wouldn't I? And answering all those questions for them, but helping them know, where do you get business and what does that look like? So we have twice weekly meetings for the new agents, where generally one's on Zoom and one's in person. We do live calls with them. When they get an appointment, if they don't want to go on their own, we go with them. Right? Because you've got to feel supported, right? We don't want any agent to say, I made an appointment, but I'm terrified to open the door. Right?
Yeah.
That would be terrible. We had a great analogy in the brokerage about not going with them on open houses, right? There's two of us that do the coaching.
Right.
I can't go to 15 open houses on the weekend. And the analogy was that as a coach, if we use basketball as an analogy, if you're a basketball coach, you're not playing the game with them. Right, you're setting them up for success in that, where they have to do some stuff on their own. So we encourage them to host open houses. We practice conversations. So it's tiered every week. There's a plan. There's homework, teacher and me. There's goal set up, and it just builds every week. I do have data on what the agents have done. I was just talking about it this morning. Every agent in our coaching program has gone on at least 6 appointments. They have some buyers and sellers in the pipeline, which is really exciting because the data is not good on new agents, right? About 90% of them fail. So our goal is that within those first 120 days, they get something under contract.
How big are you in getting with a mentor? Actually, someone they can call before they call you all the time.
Yeah, we have one built into the brokerage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's someone that they can go or shadow.
Yep.
We probably talked about this because I've talked about with many agents how important it is for a new agent to try to, get under the wing for 3 or 4 or 6 months, whatever it takes. Do open houses with the experienced agent. Go out on listing appointments, etc.
Yeah, it's super, super important to us. It's actually a part of our core values is coaching, and we have a mentor program built into the brokerage. And so, yeah, we have all that built in, and we have a really collaborative culture, which I'm really proud of. So, the agents that do have listings, open them up to the agents for open houses, which is amazing. I mean, that's a really great door to have open for you, that you have the opportunity to host open houses, because that can be hard, because you're like, great, I have my real estate license, and what do I do? Where do I go? How do I get business? So they'll often come to me, who do you think I could talk to about this? And I, help them, partner with somebody. Sometimes an agent brought them on. There might have been like kind of like a referral. So they'll often use that person as their mentor, even though we have an assigned mentor in the brokerage. So there's a lot of opportunity there for them to feel supported.
What have you found from the culture? You've been in the business a couple decades. Ugh. You've been out there. You've been with other brokerages. Not all agents play nice. For some reason, just whatever their personality, I don't know, whatever it is. But now you're the leader in the office. Sure. You're the point person, and I imagine you probably have had some bad apples, some bad attitudes, or whatever. How do you handle that?
So this is what I've learned. My goal is to foster a collaborative culture with an abundance mindset. And if you don't have that, it kind of makes you ill to be around it, right? If you don't feel there's enough business for everybody, and you don't want to share your listings for open houses for other agents, or you don't want to share maybe your buyer consult paperwork or the documents you leave in your listing, you're not going to make it, and they'll just leave. They weed themselves out, which is pretty great. Obviously, it's a bunch of competitive people working together. There's going to be awkward, gross things that happen. Just having the conversation about what we can do better is really important. I don't feel calling them out on it, being like, hey, John, you did this to Sally. And like sitting them down is even the right thing to do.
Right.
I more do like examples, like in the event this happens, and they kind of figure it out, because if it happens once, it's going to happen again. So just try to build that collaborative culture to say.
Well, knowing what you know, that there is plenty of deals out there.
100%.
There may be you may look at some stat. There's 12. The number 12,000 continues. I don't know if it's still 12,000 in the Northeast Florida.
It kind of bounces right around.
So, but we know 70% of those people didn't even do a deal last year. And then when you really look at it, actually, how many did more than 3 or 4 deals? Now you're really down to this real niche. I see a lot of people advertising, we're the top 1.5%. Well, Yeah, and you're good. Trust me, you're doing good. But when you say, "Hey, I'm in the top 1%," I mean, you're thinking so. It doesn't take much because there's so many people on that list. There's plenty of deals out there. To put yourself in the top 5%, you're making a nice living, and you may someone looking for the outside, the top 5%. Oh my God, you must be Ryan Serhant or something. No, you're actually just someone doing a dozen or more deals, and you're already in that category. When agents realize that there's plenty of businesses, and how do I differentiate myself into not just do 3 million, but to do 6 or 9 million? It's what else do I need to, what consistent things that I need to do to get there? Yep. And they realize the really game, it's like golf. You're really competing against yourself.
That right there is the hardest thing for agents to realize is they're not really competing with other agents. They're competing with themselves. Like you go on a listing appointment, you lose the listing, right? You just lost to somebody else. You just have to look at it as a blessing, right? It's okay. It wasn't meant for you. It was meant for somebody else. But what could you have done differently? You've got to think back. Okay, when did the body language change? What did I say that made me lose the listing? It's okay. You learn more from failure than you do from success. I say that every day of the week. It's easy to win. Easy. That's easy. That feeling is easy, and it's hard to lose. Really hard. So when you look back on it, which you've got to have a constant sense of reflection. It's the only way you'll get better and improve on whatever didn't go well. So when you look back on that listing appointment that didn't go well, you've got to think back, okay, when did that seller, lean back? Like, when did they stop leaning forward at me? Or when did they, that's what you've got to do differently next time.
Yeah.
That verbiage didn't go well. And then you just make it better, right? To say, I'm so glad I lost that listing, because that taught me that part of my listing and presentation is off.
Yeah.
You've got to look at everything in the positive, because, man, are we surrounded by a lot of negative crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Listening to some of the top agents, and, we're talking about listing appointments, and obviously the biggest question is, you get that seller who wants to list a house for $30,000 higher than what you're comping it out at. And every agent will tell you, any agent with any experience, if you list that for 20 or 30,000 higher than what everything else in the area is selling for and what I'm comping it out for, it will sit, and it does. And you have to learn how to put that across with, if we were going into Claude or ChatGPT, nice tone, don't be confrontive,
sure,
but be influential.
Yeah.
And learning how to do that is not an easy skill for a lot of people. That we want to become combative, or obviously our adrenaline gland goes off, and now we need to get in defense, versus learning how to control your emotions and then put it across in that soft tone, or whatever it is that.
Absolutely.
Situation in the past month, which you can go back further, but I don't think you have to. Client agent deal that has stuck with you, and did you keep thinking about?
Oh, wow, like that the realtors brought to me?
Yeah, it's something that's happened, and it's still going on your mind, whether you won or lost it, but maybe it was like, wow, I never saw that before, or wow, that was,
Well, I mean, that one I brought up earlier was really crazy, also because the customer has a real estate license who didn't understand the paperwork. So it was really, really fascinating.
Florida license.
Arizona.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go.
They had an Arizona real estate license, and so when I was talking to my realtor about it, she was like, hey, I didn't do my full buyer consult because they had a real estate license, and now I feel like I failed them. And I said, well, what kind of questions did you ask? And she's like, well, I said, are you familiar with the buyer process? And they said, well, of course I am. I'm an agent. And they said, oh, okay, so you know about the buyer broker agreement that after August 17th, of course. And all he did was cut her off. So she's like, I didn't do my full thing, and now I have this epic fury of anger at me about the whole process. And I said, well, do you feel you did the best job you could given your situation? And she said, absolutely. And I said, well, then you did everything right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one has stuck with me a lot because she was so upset, right? It was out-of-state buyers, that everything was done virtually. And
I would be curious to look this person up and see if they've actually even done a deal.
And so we talked about that. I asked her.
Yeah.
I said, hey, do you know how many deals they've done?
Is he really producing? Yeah.
And that's our only regret is did they sell any real estate, or did they just have their license and referral? It wasn't questions we really asked, just said they have a real estate license, and we moved on. So that one stuck with me. I had another agent who reached out. She got a referral from a past customer for a listing. And I don't know about you guys, or any of the other agents out there, I encourage all my agents to put the people in Forewarn, which if you don't know what that is, it's like a background check system.
Yep.
She sent me the Forewarn and she was like, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, what are you going to do? She's like, well, the referral said he's okay, but this is a little dicey.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, well, so what do
She
you
knew
think?
the referral person?
She knew the referral person
Okay.
really well, done a couple of deals with them, was like more than a customer, like they'd had, dinner together and stuff, like, so like in between a customer
She
and a
trusted
friend.
that person, but the question is how much trust is between that person
Yeah.
and the person they referred.
Yeah. But all the, like, we'll just call it the bad stuff was long ago. And I said, well, do you feel people can change? And she said, well, yeah. I mean, people make mistakes. And I said, so, what are things we can do for safety? And so, blah, 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 blah. She did go on the appointment and whatever. And I said, hey, did you feel unsafe? And she's like, nah, I didn't. Just obviously made some bad choices in their youth. And so, I think something really important that I do not think is talked about enough is realtor safety. Mm-hmm. And I hate to be like a doom and gloomer about it because I am a super positive person, but I do encourage every agent, if it's a stranger, even if that wasn't really a stranger, right? It was a referral person, to put them in Forewarn because,
I've heard, obviously, my wife's in the business. She talks about, she forewarns everyone that calls in and stuff like that. Like that story you just gave me is a story that she she was trying to make that judgment call. Oh, it looks like it was, 10, 15 years ago, whatever. But you go in with your eyes open and your
Correct.
ears perked.
So we just talked about it,
Yeah.
Share your location with me. What's the, I tell all the agents that they should share their location with somebody that they feel, whatever it is.
Tell them where you're going.
And then there should be some type of like secret call you can make that tells the person you're sharing a location with that you're in trouble, that won't alarm the person you're with. Mine
Right. Some code word.
Mine has to do with a pet that's deceased.
Right.
That like no one, it's like, hey, like you start the meeting with that buyer or seller. Hey, I just want you to know my dog's in the vet hospital right now, so I might have to make a call if I get a text message.
All right.
So they already know about the possibility,
Right.
so it doesn't seem out of the blue. You just got to set yourself up for
Well,
success.
I had this on the last episode. I talked about this, The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker. You've got to read it.
I don't know it, so I thank you.
Gavin studies these things. If you feel something is off, it's off.
Fascinating.
Do not. What he found, and it's actually a reel. It's doing pretty good on YouTube right now.
Love it.
Because I was talking, but as humans, as people, we see a forewarn. Oh, he's probably he's
Right.
probably cool now. It's probably, I don't feel comfortable. They talk about people walking down the street. A female might be walking on one side of the street and sees a male coming down, and they're like, "Oh no, I'm not going to cross the street to avoid that." If your intuition makes your hair stand up on there, or you get chills or whatever, you need, because any other animal would run.
Oh, you're
Humans,
so right.
Humans are the first to say, "I don't want to be racist. I don't want to be judgmental.
Right, you don't want to be rude.
I don't want to appear to be rude." And that is where we get ourselves in trouble.
That is really interesting.
Gavin DeBecker, The Gift of Fear, and that's what it is. We have an intuition. Something doesn't sound right, like you're talking about. Do the forewarn. Well, call them and have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
If after talking to them, you could tell they're double talking, whatever, and you just, this doesn't sound good. You probably should avoid
I tell
that
them all
person.
the time the money isn't worth it.
Yeah. No, but safety should be a bigger part of what. If you're not using Forewarn right now, you're crazy. Obviously, I think, what is it? Florida Realtors actually is part of your membership, your fees,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Provides that, so it's you're already paying for
You're
it.
already paying for it. Use it.
And
Forewarn.
all you have to do is put in the phone number. Am I correct?
Just the phone number, and then it'll give you.
Does it always hit with the phone number, or sometimes, because obviously?
Well, if they're using like a Google number, it won't work. So sometimes it finds nothing found, and then you can put in their name, and you might find something. But unfortunately, a lot of common names, and so you might have to feed it like
Well, are you
John Smith, Jacksonville, Florida, or like the zip code or whatever. But it's
you
pretty accurate.
or the association or whatever? I mean, imagine some of the steps are, especially if you've got someone you don't know that you know that they send over their driver's license.
So this is very interesting. So I have a brand new realtor who got, I would say the text was kind of awkward, for lack of a better word, like
Flag.
was a flag, right?
Yep.
And so she's reading it to us. So we have a brokerage lunch that we do 3 to 4 times a year. I call it Elevate with 8 because it rhymes. There's 8 spots. And it's just meant for conversation, right? We have lunch together and just talk about, I call real estate being in the wild. So we just talk about what's going on in the wild. And this agent said, hey, I got this text message. Can I read it to you guys? Sure. She read it to us, and we were like, oh, like the syntax is kind of off. Well, what's your plan? Oh, well, and it said something like, we'll just pretend the agent's name is Lauren. Hey, Lauren, I see you sell real estate like in the Northeast Florida. Like weird.
Yeah.
You know, would you be interested in helping my parents buy a house?
Yeah.
And we all were like,
parents. I mean, like, oh, you're including your parents, and then you must be cool because you're not going to do anything stupid in front of your parents.
Right, like super weird, right?
Yeah.
So we were all like, So, you know, so we read all the messages, and her plan was to meet them, thankfully, at a local coffee shop.
Okay.
And whatever. They'd asked to meet at a house. She said, no, you know, we need to talk about the buying process. Like, so she did really well. I was really proud that she had listened to the coaching and whatnot. And she had forewarned them, and there was nothing and whatnot. And she did meet them, and they just, you know, English wasn't their first language, and they are real buyers that are really looking to buy a house, and there was nothing there. So, you know, she did, like I said, she met them in a public place, asked the right questions. They were cash, which also just felt really wrong. Like there was nothing.
Well,
there was nothing that felt
all
right.
the triggers, all the triggers, cash. Agents get excited. Okay, great, they got cash. We don't have to worry about it. You know, they got cash. We can close quickly. I'm going to get paid, and then all these things excite you. Oh, hey, I'm buying for my parents. Oh, that's nice.
That's so cute.
Let the guard down now.
Yeah.
All those things were all flags.
So, but I was so happy that, because she hasn't been with us very long. Like I said, she's a brand new realtor, that she let us know. And so she shared her location with some of us, and we followed up with her after the meeting. We're like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And she did, and everything was fine, and they're active buyers that she's working with. And so she's been doing really well on social media, and that's how they found her.
Our family uses the 360 app, which has become pretty popular. And actually, I mean, I got my in-laws and my parents and the 4 of us. So we got 8 of us on there.
Oh, cool.
So we know where everybody's at all the time. But the agents need to have that. If their family member needs to know where they can pick up the phone anytime and see exactly where they're at. Like, hey, I keep calling you, but you're not answering. Where are you at? The car's parked on the side of the road somewhere. Like, why is that? You know,
100%.
Yeah, red flag, right? Yeah, that's actually. While you were talking about Forewarn, I'm going to reach out to Forewarn and see if I can get somebody on the show. But
oh my gosh, that'd be so awesome. So even before, because NEFAR provided it for a while, that Florida Association of Realtors provided it. When I had the real estate team, we provided it for the team. Yeah. Because we did online leads. They were strangers. And I would say to them, I will never be upset if you're like, hey, Tanya, John Smith came in, I forewarned him, and I didn't feel comfortable. Go with your gut every day, like you said.
From where you sit right now, what's the single biggest market shift in St. Johns County that agents in your area are still underestimating?
So number one is realtors still think that the houses are just going to sell themselves, right? And I hate to say
some do,
and they do sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And
they got the pool, they're in the right neighborhood, right school, boom.
But they're priced right.
Right.
Real estate hasn't changed. Pricing is the single most important factor about houses. It does not matter if you spend $2,500 on the most beautiful pictures with the most amazing photographer, with the videos, with the things, and they're flying, and I don't even know what they're doing. And they're beautiful, and they're amazing, and everything. You could have, the house could look like it was staged or, you know, designed by the most amazing person. But if you haven't priced it right, it's not going to sell. It's end of story. It does not matter what you've done.
Yep.
It does not matter what brokerage you're with or what you've paid for advertising. It is the single biggest factor in sales. And people love St. Johns County, right? It's got the best schools, whatever, you know, number 1 in the state of Florida, depending where you look at. So they think that's going to sell the house.
Right.
Right? That factor is going to. But underestimating the importance of
strategic pricing.
is I think what's harming a lot of realtors right now.
Every agent that comes on, obviously I only have top producers on, people that are doing business, some more seasoned than others, but they're doing business, so that they got this. They all say the same thing that you just said. So anyone listening should understand that, but you and I know that there are a lot of agents out there, either they don't have control over their seller, which sometimes happens where the seller wants that extra 20 or 30,000. You're like, I really think it's going to sell for 700, but if you list it at 730, it could sit. And they say, list it for 730 and let's see what happens.
Well, let's talk about that.
What's the process
what can you
from
do in that instance?
Well, if you're going to quiz me.
No, I mean, I can tell you. What I
You
would
could
do.
tell me. I'll tell you and then you tell me.
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat what other agents basically said
Well,
if I could put that summary together in my head real quick. You need to walk them through the process of this is what's going to happen. Based on my experience, based on what every agent's saying on the Real Estate Excellence podcast, they're telling us that if we're pricing it for $20,000 or $30,000 more, it's likely going to sit. And then when you after it's been sitting for 7, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever that initial agreement is that we're going to let it ride, and you don't have any showings, what are we going to do next? And put that back on the seller.
Yeah.
And then I want to know, I'm going to spin it back to you. What does it look like from a buyer's agent when you're sitting out there and you see this house, go, oh, you probably will like that. It's in the right neighborhood, right size, all that good stuff is good. They just had a price reduction. What are you now coaching your buyers and when you're going to go see that, when you see that first reduction?
So I looked at some data yesterday because I love it. And sellers are getting about, I mean, this is across Northeast Florida, not just St. Johns County. So based on the NEFAR data through the end of May, about 97% of their list price on average. So the market's healthy, right? That's
97% on list price. That's,
Now
I mean, I don't know how much closer you can get to 100
but
than that.
that's jaded, right? Because it does mean some of them are reduced. It's on this, whatever was listed.
Okay, they finally got to the
whatever that
advertised
is.
number.
It doesn't unfortunately break it down for was it their original list price or what they reduced it for. So
isn't there another category for that?
Correct, but you'd have to, it's a lot of more data crunching.
Right.
I did not do. I just did overall. So, overall the market's good for the most part. We're very sheltered here in that because of people moving here and the new construction and new construction totally jades our whole entire market. Right, it totally screws all our data because they put in a house for a day. Right, then they put placeholders. They're in there for millions of days. It really messes with our data. But anyway, in my opinion, when sellers are very, very hard pressed, and if it's a customer you've worked with before, you don't want to lose the customer. You don't want to lose a relationship, right? Because we're in the relationship business. We don't sell houses. We build relationships, and you don't want to lose that relationship because the customer's always right. You've got to sell the fact that pricing at that is not the best choice, but we're going to do it your way. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to do it your way. But when your way doesn't work, can we do it my way? But we're going to put it right here in the contract. Mm-hmm. We'll do it your way. And in 2 weeks, if we don't have an offer, we're going to put it right in here that there's a mandatory price reduction to the price I suggested. And it's like a win-win. Right, they got what they wanted. You kind of got what you wanted. It wasn't at that inflated price long enough to hurt it.
Do you feel much. A lot of listing appointments are lost right there?
When you
because they don't come back with, they don't have either they don't naturally know how to explain that, or they haven't role played enough on how to handle it, how they come across or get defensive and saying, oh, you're just, because a lot of sellers do not realize you guys are going out there and you're advertising. There's costs that you have. Correct. You're incurring right from the get-go when they sign that contract that you're going to be there listing. You have costs incurred. So if they want to sit there and list a house and then get disappointed and then you end up losing the listing for whatever reasons and you're out whatever hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever it might be, a lot of people obviously don't even know that goes on.
Sure. I think what happens is agents say something like, hey, yeah, we'll totally list it at your price, and then when it doesn't work out, we'll reduce it.
It'll be something very simple, stupid like
vague,
that. Yeah.
Right? And there's nothing in writing allowing you to reduce it. I mean, you still got to get a modification signed and whatever.
Right.
Technically, yeah. But now that you've put it in writing, they've signed it, you can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, remember we said 2 weeks. Gosh, we've really had no showings. The market's spoken, right? Like when I built my business here on a couple of things, and one of them were expired listings. And I used to use really, really harsh words like, the market rejected your property. Your home's been rejected. They're like, what? I'm like, well, you listed it for 700 and it was listed for 200 days and you got no offers. So the market rejected it.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh, you're right. It's been rejected. I want it accepted. How do we do that? Like, you've got to be afraid. I mean, you can't be afraid of having hard conversations. And you're right. They've got to practice them.
But it also goes back to coming to the table with some data.
Yes.
Right. And the importance of that when you're sitting down with them, prices, say, you can't look at what sold 24 months ago. We really got to look like what's sold in the last 4 to 6 months.
Not even that.
And then what's listed in the neighborhood right now. If you're in our planned urban developments all over St. Johns County, for example, you've really got to look what has sold in in the neighborhood in the last couple months.
Right. Because you can't, you don't want to be the most expensive. Right. And you've got to, gosh, can you imagine this is my favorite when like the same floor plan's listed next door. And they're like, oh, but I put in shiplap. I mean, we should probably be listed 100,000 more, and I'm like, I don't know about 100,000, but you've just got to have a very comfortable conversation with them, and if you can usually figure out something they're into, like if it's the husband that's giving you a hard time, they're into cars, you can say, well, let's pretend you are going to go buy a car. Would you buy the same car for $100,000 more? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, that's what you're asking us to do. But you just got to feel comfortable. They're
typically not going to even, cars pricing is a little different for $1,000 more.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
but that could just be percentage. Are you going to spend 10% more for the same thing?
Right, exactly.
Well, no. Well, that one has heated seats, and this one doesn't. So aren't you going to pay more for it? No.
Unless you're really into heated seats, but it's Florida. Well, though we do have those days where I've turned my heated seats on.
But it's like one of those things where you've just got to break it down for them, because generally speaking, objections are fear-based. Right? When they say no, they don't necessarily mean no. It's because they're afraid. So if you can...
Well, the fear of loss.
Yeah.
Their fear, we have it all the time. Oh, someone's going to get a better interest rate, right? I was telling a customer that I'm working with right now, it's like, okay, unless someone's buying the same house right now, putting the same amount down, same credit score as you have, you can't compare what they got, whatever, 30 days ago, whatever, 2 weeks ago,
right.
the things are changed. And that's where, it comes going back to the data part. And I think one of the greatest tips, and that was brought up, I can't say people aren't doing it, just no one said they were doing it, is taking them into the neighborhood and showing them the homes that actually are already listed and say, compare your house to this. Is your house updated? This one's updated. Or
Sure, which one do you like better?
Right. What would appeal to you if you were a buyer right now?
Would you buy your house right now?
Yeah, exactly.
At that price?
Exactly. You probably find most of them will say no.
No, you're right.
No, because the comps all say 700 and I want 730. I wouldn't buy that house.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Tell me about an agent in your office who's talking about the revenue share. Talk about the revenue share and the benefits of it. Is it just some icing on the cake, really, for an agent to come over?
Yep. So, it's a hot topic. Right, rev share, because there's tons of brokerages out there that offer a lot, and in my opinion, they're almost trying to replace. And this is my opinion. Don't get mad at me about it. That they're trying to replace the agents selling. Like they don't want them necessarily to sell real estate. They want the agent to kind of grow that brokerage through recruiting. So they offer a ton of rev share. I want to reward the agents for helping grow the brokerage, because I want them to be around agents they want to be around. It's a mutually beneficial thing. If
they come in the office, they're friendly. They had that's why a lot of times, whether someone wants to get out of bed or not, is their coworkers, right? Well, and it's not necessarily that you're actually joined, that you're actually coworkers that have to sit in an office together and required a certain period of time. But when you have friends there, you're like, hey, so-and-so's going to be by the office, or so-and-so's going to the meeting, so I'm going to go to the meeting.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's nice to be around people that you feel comfortable with, or that you can grow with, or whatever it is. But, you can't have it be so much money that it almost becomes obsessive for you to try to recruit so that you can replace your real estate income. So we offer a small amount of money, and we like to say it's enough to go out for a nice dinner and at the end of the month, or keep your gas tank filled, because good Lord, the price of gas is high.
It's coming down though quickly.
I have an EV, so I don't know about gas. But I use it as an example.
You prepaid your gas.
Yeah.
You prepaid your gas.
So we offer some, because we want to reward the agents for helping support this collaborative culture that we have, but not like they're going to quit real estate over it.
Buffini and Tom Ferry, you've trained under both.
Yes.
Different philosophies.
Wow.
How do
More
you, I assume you take the best, what you feel the best from both and stick it in your business. Tell us a couple things you take from Buffini and a couple things you do that Tom Ferry.
Sure. So what's interesting is I'm probably a little bit more lean toward the Buffini model. It's just kind of stuck with me more only because my business grew more when I was coaching with Buffini than it did with Tom Ferry. But very interesting, I stuck with my Tom Ferry coach longer. Just fascinating, right? I still talk to my Tom Ferry coach. He's a really great person. He actually stuck with me in the beginning when I started the brokerage to help me launch it because he ran a Keller Williams office, so he kind of understood all of it. But what I love about the Buffini model is that it's based on relationships. And I, even before I kind of knew that principle, I was doing it just not to the best of my ability. And what I like to tell agents when they don't know what to do for coaching or they don't know where to go, the amazing thing is that this social media platform, right? You can go to Instagram and Brian Buffini gives away lots of tips and tricks on there. So if you don't know where to go, check him out.
Or I'm sure he's on YouTube too.
That too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, he has lots of great things that he talks about, but the base of his business is to just work by referral, right? Is work with the people you know, because in order for someone to buy or sell a house with you, they have to know you, like you, and trust you. Mm-hmm. And so if you can get people who know you, like you, and trust you to refer you business, you're going to be okay. And the year that I brought on Buffini, I sold a lot of real estate, like $38 million. And 87% of it was referral based. And previous to that, I was probably at about half. So I know that the system worked because that's a lot.
Are you bringing it into the office?
Yeah.
How are you bringing it into your brokerage?
So it's part of the coaching program, especially with the new agents, is I remind them, hey, you don't have to pay for leads. Everything you have to bring the phone out again is in here. And I tell them, you know, you're going to laugh at me. The example I use is if you were going to get married, who would you invite to your wedding? Because those are your people, right? Because those are the people that like you hold near.
Who invited you to their wedding?
Yeah,
right.
Like those are your people, right? People, because I don't know, they often use these dumb things like your top 100. That is very who? What do you mean top 100? I'm like, that overwhelms me. My top 100 of what? What do you want? You want me to? Because then they put like hairdresser or dentist. I'm not inviting my dentist to anything. That is very unauthentic to me. But that's very hard for me to grasp.
You'd have to be beyond just a dentist, like maybe someone I went to school with, grew up with, and I've known, and I use them as my dentist too.
They put dog groomer on there, and they're just trying to give you ideas, but that doesn't serve me. But I have the documents for the agents because that does serve some people. But I like to say, you're going to get married. Who would you invite? Let's write them all down, right? Because your phone has so many people in it. They say every person knows 7 people somewhere in the real estate cycle. So if you know 100 people, that's 700 people in the real estate cycle. Somewhere buying, selling, thinking about it, downsizing, upsizing, buying investment property. So if you can capitalize on that through consistency and systems, you'll be fine. You just have to figure out how to get that. And that's what Buffini taught me, was those systems, you know, sending out an email, sending them handwritten cards, and, you know, I like cards. That's probably why I liked Buffini better. But you know what I do love from Tom Ferry? The thing I got from him was mastering the open house. He has what is he called? A mega open house. Awesome, awesome stuff. I love his open house principles. You
can, where a lot of agents throw the open house to the side, like, oh, I gotta go do an open house type of thing. The agents that focus on open house being their, you know, that's their business, really do well at it, because they go over and the neighbors see what they're doing and they knock on doors and let everybody know, and they're doing all those steps. I'm sure Tom Ferry is in there. You must have said St. Johns County in your little questionnaire I gave you before the show. So St. Johns County.
Because I live there.
Yeah, it's coming up all the time. For a solo agent, St. Johns County doing $4 to $6 million right now. What's the first sign they're approaching the burnout wall, and what's the first hire or leverage move you coach them to make?
So the first sign of getting burnout is when they don't want to answer the phone, right? When they're like, oh, damn it, is that customer calling me? Mm-hmm. They're just annoyed. They're annoyed at work, right? And I've been there. We've all been there, right? But when you're like annoyed that you have a new customer.
And I think because we all get there, we're focused on something because nothing is happening. Mm-hmm. You're really focused on this, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, the phone's ringing, and you're like, I know that's going to take me away from what I'm deep into right now. So we immediately have that type reaction. You know what I'm
talking about. You're just like, gosh, really? Are they calling me right now?
But it's because we're doing some
Whatever.
non-income producing task over here we're focused on, and we want to finish it, and then someone's disturbing us, which
Correct.
might be a money call.
Which is most likely a money call, right?
Yeah.
And when you're like annoyed by a money call, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And so that means you're not leveraging your time for money, right? Because you either have time or money, not both, every single day of the week, which means you need to use your money to buy yourself time. I love The $1 Million Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. He talks about your first hire should be an admin. Totally agree. There's a ton of tasks that admins can take off your plate. The amazing part about nowadays is they don't have to be like a real human in your office, right? I think virtual assistants are the most amazing thing. I have 3 that work for me. They're all part-time that do different things well for me. They've been with me for years. I love them like family. I mean, they are so committed.
What are some of the tasks, the 3 different things that they're doing for
Absolutely.
you? Yeah.
So one of them does a lot of data analytics for me. She'll look at, so she is like, the disc profile.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling she's 100% C. Like, she is the most compliant human being I've ever seen in my life. Like, I laugh at her emails sometimes because they're so, like, she can only be in a box. She cannot color outside the lines. She's in a box at all times. Mm-hmm. But it's awesome because she can put all the things organized in a box for me. I can send her a whole, hey, can you tell me?
Those are the facts and not opinions, because she's very focused on, I got to have something to back this up. I'm reading it here or there and there and there. Now I'm putting it in a box. So when you have her data, that you can repeat it because it's fact.
Perfect every day of the week. And it's amazing. And she's not going to fluff it. It's exactly what was there. And if I need it reorganized, she takes the feedback well. She's like, well, why did you ask for it this time, this way? Is that always how you're going to want it? Like, so she's amazing to work with. I have one that's a creative. So she does Canva templates for us, for the agents. We have a monthly calendar for the agents to use that has, like what they could post Monday through Sunday on and it's linked to Canva, and she creates that for us. We give her ideas. So it's like, featuring a coffee shop or whatever it is, and it has the ad copy on there. They just have to enter in their own pictures. So she creates that for us every month, which is pretty amazing because if you've learned, since I'm a science person, creativity is not my jam. So I'm very happy to have somebody that can put all those templates together for us. And the third person is just kind of like my go-to for all the extra stuff. Sometimes checks my email. She also will give me the the analytics for the brokerage. Like, she'll put together my weekly metrics and stuff, and she just kind of fills in the blanks for that. And the one thing I'll tell you, though, if you hire a VA, you have to give them time. They don't know you. You don't know them. You've got to train them to do what you want. But once you have them, they are amazing.
And obviously these are all part-time, so you're sharing them with other people. You're not
Correct.
carrying the whole load. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of agents don't realize, especially with like transaction coordinators, there's pay-for-play transaction coordinators. Why would you not be using it? You start to get to 2 and 3 deals a month, you should have a transaction coordinator.
And that was the next thing I was going to say is if you don't, even there's an argument out there, right? If you're a new agent, should you have a TC or shouldn't you? I can argue it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think TCs are the most amazing offering of all time, right? Because it's what I call the discount double check, right? They're there to look at your contract. I think almost all of them have a real estate license. So they're looking at the contract to ensure there's nothing missing. As a broker, I love them because for compliance, it's just somebody else looking at the contract because I'm human.
Yeah, I'm
not perfect.
You got your own business going, and
I might miss an initial here or there. So between me looking at them, the agent looking at them, and the TC, it's amazing. So whether you're a new agent or a highly producing agent, I think a TC is the best money you can spend because your time should not be spent doing admin work. It should be spent getting more business.
I'm going to throw out there who I had on a month or so ago, Listed Kit AI, and it actually put the contract in. A transaction coordinator can use it. A solo agent can use it. It actually reads the dates. It is checking it for compliance as well.
Cool.
Again, not 100%, but it's a lot of brokerages are going to using AI to do an initial review of the basics, and then by the time it gets to a human, they know all the basics. They're really looking at the finer things of the contract to make sure things are good, which I don't know if I assume your newest agents for the first so many contracts, you are looking at them to make sure they're filled out correctly before you can graduate them on the, trusting them to do it yourself. But Listed Kit AI, I forget what episode was, but that's one of the programs that's out there, and they're constantly improving. I get updates all the time. Hey, we're adding this, adding that to it. But you literally just scan in the contract. It reads the dates, sets the calendar. AI's doing all that stuff
Super
in the
neat.
background.
I love it.
That stuff is out there. New construction in St. Johns County.
Okay.
Agents representing buyers against builders, and what do they need? What do they need to know that buyers don't realize is going on?
So the number one thing they need to realize is that the buyer needs them, right? That it's okay. That so many, for the most part, I think the side agents are amazing, right? They do a good job of saying, hey, do you have an agent and whatever. But you've got to train your buyers to let the side agent know that they are working with an agent. Because, buyers love to wander around on Sunday afternoons and they have nothing to do. So they're like, hey, honey, let's go look at new construction today. And, we always said we'd use John if we were going to buy a house. And, oh, wow, we fell in love with this model and shit, now we're under contract. And they call John 2 weeks later and something's gone wrong and blah, 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 blah. So, you've just got to have those good relationships and just ensure you've trained your buyers about those things. But new construction is still out there. And the other thing I'm going to tell agents about, which they're not going to remember that they can do, is you can negotiate your commission. Those are not set in stone.
Yeah.
If they're offering 7 bananas, you can ask for 8. All they have to do is say no. The answer is always no if you don't ask. So realtors out there that don't think you can negotiate for it, everything's negotiable.
Well, one of the tips that I picked up on a recent episode is agents should not undervalue themselves in the new construction thing. If you're a new agent right now that has time to go and travel around to all the models, go around and meet the site agents.
100%.
Learn what's going on. And then become an expert working out. The site agent may not say, maybe you could ask them directly. I mean, obviously, I've never done it. You could answer this question, but each builder is different in what they do negotiate on.
Correct.
And there's some things that are set in stone that there's no negotiation. That's the price for that. But these things over here, fixtures, whatever it may be, that is negotiable. But unless you know that, you can't share that with your buyers and therefore be the value add that you need to be when representing a buyer in a new construction.
And you're right. Every builder's different, right? They all have different stuff. Every site's different. Some only sell quick move-ins. Some never have quick move-ins. But be a student of real estate, right? Know the sites. If you've no business, go get it, right? Go seek it out. Go to the new construction sites. It is the most amazing thing that we have here. We always have those new construction sites. Go film a video of it. You don't have to talk in it. Set it to some cool music. Leave a mysterious hook. Don't give them all the information. Don't tell them the builder. Don't tell them, everything where you're at. So you have a reason, a call to action in your video. So they have a reason to reach out. So use that new construction as a platform to get business. Yeah.
I was just trying to think of an analogy, and it's like, you go into Walmart, they do certain things their way. You go to Target, they do things the builders are the same way.
Correct.
They have their different focus. Maybe appliances are what it is. So there's other builders, I'm sure the appliances are just openly included in it. It's just, but you need to learn what those things are so you could properly negotiate. And if you're a new agent and don't know, call your broker. Hey, you've been working with this builder a lot. What is it? Where are the negotiation points? Where's the wins that I can get from my buyer? And because I think you would agree, you do one of two things. You negotiate, say, hey, I know this builder, I know this site agent. Credibility's given. You get a win. Hopefully that person that used you to buy that, they're referring someone else to buy the next one. And the builders are putting out some good spiffs out there.
They can.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you need to get from the agents in your brokerage too, right? Is say, hey, because we have that in our little group chat sometimes, is, hey, I'm going to look at a blah, blah, blah builder. Does anyone know of any bonuses, or who's your site agent preference at that site? So just be sure you're in a collaborative culture for those things.
Ask where the weak with negotiation points. Yes, it's great to get paid. You need to get paid, but if you're going to win, you got to know, what does this builder do? How do they sell their houses? Because they all have their own little twist on what they think is valuable and included, not included. Because there are certain builders like, that's just the way it is. There's really like no negotiation.
Yeah. It's like the soup Nazi. It's not like Burger King.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about.
Where are your relocation buyers coming from right now? Can you walk me through a specific referral situation where a buyer arrived from out of market, and how did you close them?
So I'm not, really selling a ton of real estate, so I can tell you about the deals that come
Yeah.
that comes through
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
brokerage. So
Where are they coming from?
they're everywhere now. I mean, we've got California, Arizona, a couple from New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago. One of my agents is really heavy into YouTube, so she gets a ton of relocation buyers. It's so cool to watch them come through, So I love that her YouTube channel is now serving her, right? Because that's the goal, right? Is you provide videos of, and it's actually, she does a lot of new construction, very good segue, a lot of new construction videos, and those are bringing people in, but they're coming from everywhere. But, the usual suspects of where, taxes are high and whatnot. But yeah, I know in the last 60 days, I can say Arizona, California, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and New York.
I believe something's going to happen with the property taxes. The more and more I listen to it, the bureaucrats who are naysaying it and trying to get the public to, but the public doesn't want to pay. And you heard the numbers of how the increase of the budgets of some of these counties versus their increase in population just doesn't add up.
It's
like,
weird.
do you have a surplus of money?
Yep.
Or you're not spending it correctly from that standpoint. But we see any amount of reduction. Obviously, eliminating property taxes in general is like, but even just a reasonable reduction. Not that our property taxes are crazy compared to Chicago, New York, California.
Correct.
We see any sort of reduction there is just another reason to get people to move that are maybe procrastinating. Oh, the interest rates are high. You know what? They're going to reduce the property taxes.
Sure.
Our payment's probably going to, just because the rate's high, it's now going to be like paying 4% because the property tax is that much less.
It's just going to make it a lot more palatable. Like those people that are on the fence are like, what do we hear? Oh, I've always wanted to live in Florida. Now they're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that agents should start talking about, because I think, in November, and then obviously the legislature will get together. If they put something, we wouldn't obviously see it till the 27 taxes come out.
Right.
But I think it's something that you should be talking about, because one thing DeSantis recommended, not that the legislature would actually take him point blank, was if we're going to do a great discount, it has to be for the people who are currently homesteaded residents now, and that's someone who, after the legislation goes in effect, moves in, they should have, he was recommending like 5 years before they're technically, I guess, a Floridian, right? And then get to, so put that out there, say, hey, this is what's going on. And they're talking about, a cutoff date. So it could be 5 years before you see that reduction. But if you go ahead and move now, you're going to get the reduction because you're already on the home before the legislation goes into effect. So just something to throw out there. That is being discussed, but I think agents should be educating and paying attention to what's going on from that standpoint. Obviously, DeSantis is out there preaching, but he's going to be gone. And, obviously, I think it's January 1st.
Yep, I think you're right.
November he's out, the election, but January 1st he's out. But that's what they're talking about. And it's got people, I think it's going to towards affordability and hopefully push some people off the thing. All right, we'll go to this last question.
Got it.
Actually, you know what? I do want to ask this one here.
Okay, I'm excited.
Because I think this is important, because I think you're running in this. You've recruited a couple, heavy hitters here in the last year. Sarah obviously has been on the show. When a 10 or 15-year veteran walks into your office and says they're stuck, what are the first 2 or 3 questions you have to figure out what the real problem is?
Sure, such a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually ask them first of all, I hope they have a P&L, right? I want to see, because most agents that have been in the business that long have a business plan of sorts, right? They're pouring money into their business in some way, shape, or form. So I want to see what that looks like. Like, are they buying leads? Are they not nurturing their sphere? Do they not have a CRM? I mean, you would be surprised how many agents work on an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm not dissing on an Excel spreadsheet. I'm not. But if you're selling a lot of real estate, you do need automation, right? You need a CRM that's loving on your people often enough so they think it's you. I mean, they know it's automation, but they think it's you enough. Nothing like a personal touch, like a handwritten card or a phone call. But what are you doing in your business to get more business? Like, are you actually not asking people? And so it's really looking at what they're doing and then what we could do better, and then how we can support them with that. Do they need a recommendation of a VA, for instance, or do they maybe it is time for they get an admin, or maybe they're so busy selling real estate, they're stagnant, because we look and we see a whole group of people, they're bringing in leads, they're getting all these referrals, and they're like, oh my gosh, I brought in all these people last year. I didn't call 20% of them. You might need a buyer's agent.
Yeah, you could have a great year, and all of a sudden
it plateaus.
Yeah.
It's very, very common that you grow this business, right? You grow, but you're one human being. Everyone has the same amount of time and every day. So you bring in all this business, you're hosting open houses, you're getting all this referral business because you're such a great realtor, and you don't have the time to serve everybody.
Well, I think one of the biggest sins that corporations have, having been on my side, they pay all this money for these CRMs, real estate, any sales falls in this category. They come out and teach all the bells and whistles that they have to the point where everyone has analysis paralysis.
Yep.
They're like, okay, instead of actually going in either as an agent being a sole proprietor, 1099, whether the brokerage is providing somebody and maybe they have to pitch into it, or they hire a virtual assistant to be working that CRM behind the scenes without you even know all they're doing. You're just making sure everyone's added in, and that the lightest person you talk to, I think it was Marky Lemons, who I had on a few years ago before the RE Bar Camp, said she likes to add 8 people to her CRM every day. That's like a goal, that she adds 8 names to it.
Amazing.
Yeah. Imagine if you just kept, not even half that pace, the amount of people you would accumulate, and then you're reaching out to them all the time, which obviously she cannot be doing it, because if you follow Marky, she's on LinkedIn, doing LinkedIn articles, she's coaching, teaching all around the country, traveling for
she's
NAR.
Automation.
Yeah, she has automated
has
and virtual assistants working those things, and it's just snowballed to an effect. So does a broker provide someone to nurture everyone's CRM, because the campaigns could be very similar all the way across the board. It's just
absolutely
making sure the CRM, because you're paying all this money for this thing, that actually, because it's designed to work behind the scenes.
Absolutely. So we have Tech Tuesdays, once or twice a month, where we provide one-on-one training on our CRM. And it has automated campaigns already in there. Like, for instance, if you put in John Smith, your buyer, his birthday is January 1st, 1985, you then just check birthday. It'll wish him a happy birthday automatically. I mean, you do have to check it that he's on the birthday campaign. You can do the same thing. It'll do a happy house anniversary automatically. There is also a campaign for a new buyer campaign, a new seller campaign. That's automation for you. You can build a newsletter in there that gets sent automatically. I mean, you do have to make the newsletter, but
or you can hire someone to make it.
Absolutely.
You can totally
use Claude.
Yes.
And it can make you a really amazing one that you have to load in there. But it's a tool to give you your time back. What you have to decide as a person or as a realtor is, how are you going to do it? Are you better served by saying, on one day a week, I'm going to spend 4 hours on my admin tasks? Or do you have to do 1 hour every day? You have to answer that question. Because you either like to work in your business or on your business. I have found all the agents are kind of divided, right? Nobody likes both. And so whatever that is for you, you've got to figure it out. And so when I sit with agents that are, at a peak in a valley, I'm like, hey, what do you like, working in or on your business? And they're like, I've never even heard that term before. And so we talk about it, and I'm like, hey.
Or thought about it.
Or they never
really think about what they're doing on a daily basis. Yeah.
And so what happens is they figure out, kind of what their kryptonite is. And then you either have to hire for it, you got to pay for time, or you got to figure out how to structure your day so that you can make that happen, because you have to work in and on it to grow.
Yeah.
End of story. Every day. It's back to consistency.
Make it come. This is off the question list, but I think it's very important, because I do believe a lot of new agents might be enticed by some agents who might be working for these low split brokerages, or like whatever the handle is for them. Sure. And they're like, oh yeah, I want the biggest check possible, so I want to go. But really, how important it is to find the brokerage, even if it's at a cost, that gets your business up in flying.
Sure.
And that might cost you a little bit of your commission for, to a point where you feel you can do it all yourself. Or you may find, I know there's some brokers, there's obviously some brokerages here in town that have a ton of top producing agents. And you and I know they probably have I wouldn't say the worst split, but definitely in the top 5 worst splits than anyone. But these top agents keep working because they're actually feel value in that.
Yeah, they feel like they get a lot of support for the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I would say that there's got to be a balance, right? Like, if we're going to talk about top agents closing $30 million a year and they're on a 80-20 split, they could hire a whole human for that 20%, right? It seems silly, but that's okay. But for new realtors, your foundation is so, so important. It is not something to play around with on those first 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 transactions, that if you don't have someone teaching you to write the contract, what the heck are you going to do? I mean, not only could you ruin the relationship of that person that you got the business from, but there's legalities involved. I don't think new agents are actually taught the whole spectrum of the business. You've mentioned here a P&L. Well, you and I know 99% of the agents out there don't have a P&L. Right.
Just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's part of the spectrum. The
right.
CRM, education, obviously, you're constantly doing that. And when you actually show them this whole spectrum, you're like, yeah, that's what it takes to run a corporation. And that's me. And so I don't have time enough in the day for this pie. How can I cut this quarter off? And, will the brokerage take care of that? Do they have people that will take care of that part, which some brokerages obviously do, to take some of the load off, type of thing? Or do I, go to a virtual assistant? But how important it is to understand the full scope and what needs to be done right away. And that's something you need to be learning as well as the contract if you want to get off to a great start and actually continue on success.
I think it's really hard for new agents to realize, or even existing agents, right? They forget that they're running a business, right? They're all the things, right? They're
just running one deal to the next.
But they're everything, right? Yeah. They're production, they're sales, they're marketing, they're HR, right? They're everything all in one, and you're not going to be good at all of it. So at some point, you have to source some of it out, whatever that looks like, and you have to be okay to say, there's part of this I'm not good at or I don't like, and I'm going to source that out. So I think new realtors just have to remember, in the beginning, you've got to do all of it, but you've just got to set up a good foundation, and that's with being at a brokerage that's supporting you, that's helping you. I don't necessarily think they should give you leads. I think you should learn how to source your own. That's my opinion, just because that way you have build a business for life. That means you're not going to have instant success, but you'll have success later because you'll learn how to
Would
get
you
it.
agree that a new agent, if a brokerage is giving out leads, a new agent, so they can get some at-bats, but their goal should be to wean off those leads?
Yeah, but it becomes really hard because you get busy, right? Especially when you're a new agent, you're so worried about everything. I have found that they spend too much time. They get analysis paralysis on things. So when they're given a lead, they're just spinning all the time, that then they forget to nurture the other things that might have been theirs. So I try to steer away from it because you get stuck. You're getting, 3 to 5 leads a day, and you're calling and they're not answering, and you're trying to nurture them, and then you're not able to nurture your own.
I think what I was doing is just finding the brokerage that takes that piece of the pie that I was just talking about, that you don't, at least most of the pieces that you don't feel you're good at or not good at, that they have staff there that can take that. And what is the value of that? What is your split? Is it, so I'm going to give him that much. I only pay the transaction coordinator when I have a deal. That's a no-brainer in my mind.
Absolutely.
Those types of things. It's something to think about. And obviously, anyone listening, Tanya here can definitely help you out and break that down. You're running a producing brokerage in 26. Which AI tools are your agents using that are making a real difference, and which ones are just noise?
Oh, wow. So obviously everybody loves ChatGPT. I feel like it was like the foundation one. And I think that the majority of them are really embedded in that. We've spent a lot of time, especially on like our Tech Tuesdays, talking about it. Some of us just came back from Savannah, where we had a Realty One Group One talk, which is like a world tour of small conferences. And at that one, there was an AI expert, and which is really neat. He talked about how you have to prompt properly, which I think is like the newest thing coming up in AI, is remembering how to prompt. I have kind of put ChatGPT away. I've decided, well, first of all, I named her Charlotte. So I have put her away, and I am in a very deep relationship with Claude.
Yes, I've done the same thing.
Oh, you've done the same thing. So I really like Claude.
I wouldn't say I put ChatGPT is really good at graphics now.
Yes,
It'll create good thumbnails. It'll create the posts that you see me post up. I have it on this whole pre-4th of July thing, and it's the Revolutionary War battles.
Yeah.
But I'm the Continental Army, and I'm defeating the bad lenders who are the yes. And I'm saving deals for the agents. Yes.
I love it. Anyway, so so we have very open conversations about all the different AIs. We have AI embedded into our back end. We have Roger. He looks like a little bull type guy, or a goat, I don't know his horns, and he's built into our CRM, and he'll add people for you, he'll set them up on the campaigns and whatnot,
so you can talk to him.
Yeah,
you say, hey, add Sally Smith, her address is this, and
absolutely
it's
do it for you. And then we have we have two different ones in there doing different things, so we have it embedded right in there for you to use. But between those two, most of them use that. I think people are sleeping on Gemini.
I use it occasionally when I'm looking for basic things, as I don't like to cloud my Claude and ChatGPT with kind of just like one-off questions or something.
Right.
Where I'm not really like drilling down for days and something.
So like I have found, and we talk about this because we like to have not specific meetings about specific topics. That sounds really stupid. But it's more like, what's going on? What should we talk about? And it just morphs into something great. And so it often leads to AI. And so sometimes I feel that when it sounds horrible, I'm not getting the answer I want. But I don't feel like it's giving me, like I'm searching.
It's not getting it. It's not
like, I guess I'm not prompting it right. For some reason, Gemini figures it out, and it leads me in a different direction. I'm like, there's the answer.
I will ask one to give me a prompt for the other. What? I'll say, give me a great prompt for, I want Claude to do this. Give me a great prompt.
I've never done that.
And it'll give it,
So I think sometimes you have to, I'm going to use a very strong word, you have to triangulate them.
Well, the one thing I've been using Claude a lot for, because it has a Chrome extension, is I use LinkedIn. I post articles on there, but I do notice a lot of agents, it's either not updated or they don't have one.
Right.
You can go and get in LinkedIn, get the extension, and say, evaluate my LinkedIn. Where am I missing? Where can I improve? You need a better bio. Your bio's not updated, but here's one for you. It'll put it in there for you. You can go through, and I loaded it actually recently because it was telling me I did not have enough reviews. So I loaded it with every guest that I've had on the podcast. I would give it it told me, give them 20 names at a time. I said, go through here. And so while I'm doing something else, it's over here requesting reviews for me, sending those things out. And then obviously it spits out, we'll say, well, we sent these here, but these people can't find them on LinkedIn, or they're a second or third. So I went in and said, okay, the second and third, send them a connection request. So it could be doing all these types of things in the background. I use it for YouTube as well. It'll go through. I said, clean up my, I'm not make sure I have the right keywords. So it's slowly going back through all my old YouTube videos and updating it. And then it'll just, hey, what's the professional thing on the thumbnails? The thumbnail giving impact. It'll speak to you. Now, all I can say is, hey, this video, it's been out there for 6 months and it's pretty stagnant. So I make some changes to it. Maybe it gets a few more views. I don't know. Right. It's worth a try.
Absolutely. Sure. Well, and the other thing,
it can only get better. That's
Claude is linked to my email, my whole Google workspace. And so I will have it write emails for me, and it throws them in my draft inbox. And so agents, if you're overwhelmed, I highly suggest you figure that out. I think you have to have the paid version. It's like $20 a month. It's worth it because it's like a little assistant for you.
If you go in, and I've used this several times, I can tell you a specific story, but let me tell you, you need to write a letter, or maybe you're a little hot under the collar, maybe, whether it's that person or someone else has got you, and whatever, but you got to write an email right now. Whether you want to talk to Claude or ChatGPT, talk to it, tell it come off whatever tone you want, and then tell us, calm this down. I need to convince this person of this. Right. It'll write the most pleasant email for you. Yeah. And believe me, I've gotten responses from people. Wow, that was a great email. Right. I've had to convince underwriters on exceptions, and I went in and had them. I told it all the information. I need to convince this underwriter. We need to get this exception. Right. These are the reasons why, and then it puts the right tone.
Makes it nice.
Yes, makes it nice. Yeah, no, and some people get off on that.
No, I totally agree. No, so I think that maybe what a lot of agents are missing is that, again, time for money. If you need to pay for the service like Claude or chat, and it can hook to your email, because it can check your email for you, and then it can draft the responses, and it puts it in your draft folder, and then you can go in there and decide if it's good. And mine has been remarkable.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Yeah.
The responses. Sometimes it says a response. It's like, hey, I'm going to look into this. I appreciate it. And it is right. It's like, I don't know the answer, but at least it's drafted a response so I can buy time, while I get it. So
right.
That's really a really nice feature that I think agents are sleeping on.
Yeah, you have to start going in and dabbling in. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. I did find this out because I asked Claude, because you get the ads on Instagram and stuff all the time. Hey, here are all these special prompts. Here's 100 Claude prompts. I asked Claude, I said, I see these advertisements. These worth, it's like, don't pay for them.
Oh, fascinating.
Do not pay for it.
I've almost bought one.
It'll actually tell you, and it was funny, Jennifer was at a training of AI, and in the basic things. You want to write a great prompt, ask Claude, what do you need to write a great prompt? It'll tell you what it needs. Just fill in the blanks. And then...
Yes. So that was my biggest takeaway from the one talk I went to on AI, was that I wasn't prompting as good as I could. I wasn't like giving it enough detail. So the example it gave was, if you're trying to write a listing description, you have to tell it what it is. Like, you are a real estate marketer. Duh.
You're a pro. You have to really actually embellish a little bit there.
Yeah.
You're the best in the world.
You're a great writer. You write.
I have noticed that it writes better when you actually do that.
You are a persuasive writer for listing descriptions in blah, blah, blah. And then you can read it and you're just like, wow. And then the other thing, which everyone, I hope you listen to this part, is you have to remind it to not have fair housing violations in your listing description.
Yes. Well, in my mind, like I've learned how to start projects. I've got a bunch of different projects going. Have a project for listing descriptions. Right. In the instructions, which you can constantly be updating as you learn, because you can ask it, hey, can we do this better? Like, I was having it go through my YouTube videos. It's like, how can you do this better that I don't use as many tokens, right? Because if it'll burn a lot of tokens because it's taking screenshots and all this stuff. But you can change your section. But have a project to do listing inscriptions, and that should be one of the most important thing. The most important thing. Do not violate fair housing in any of these things. You should. So no matter what you say to it, it will not. It's reading those instructions before it's giving you the answer.
Yeah, so the AI expert said, hey, we learned this because realtors were getting fair housing violations because they were having AI write their descriptions because AI doesn't know. It's just writing a good description. You asked it to be persuasive.
Well, I think it's like someone said, it doesn't know what 2 + 2 is. It's taking a consensus of the internet and realizing that everywhere it sees 2 + 2, it equals 4. So then the consensus is that it's 4. It's not calculating like your calculator would do. It's taking a consensus. So when it comes to fair housing laws, as you and I know, some of these government things where is it searching? Go to the CFP website and research what fair housing laws I could violate when talking about a condo or something like that, whatever it may be. You could tell it those specific things, so it's pulling it, but otherwise it's just wide open and it's just searching the internet for a consensus, and it's just giving you a consensus which may be over the edge.
Which I thought was great.
Last question.
All right, I'm ready.
Well, I'm not going to ask you, why do you love real estate? Why do you love being a broker for Realty One Group Elevate?
So it really just comes down to helping people. I love watching agents grow. I love watching them go through a problem and solving it. It's just so great. I love watching the brokerage grow, right? It's just a lot of fun and rewarding to just see them blossom, whatever that looks like for them. I always, there's sometimes agents that are like, oh, I feel like I've disappointed you because I thought I was going to sell this. And I always say, hey, this isn't about me. It's about you. It's your business. And I'm here to support that, whatever that looks like. People get lifed, right? Things happen. But my favorite part about the brokerage is just the agents I meet, the agents I get to help grow, and just watching them build their business the way they want it to be, because every day it's about them and not me.
Excellent.
This may be it for today's episode of Real Estate Excellence, but we both know your pursuit of excellence doesn't stop here. To connect with the best of the best and really take your skills to the next level, join our community by visiting TracyHayesPodcast.com, where you'll meet more like-minded individuals looking to expand their inner circle and their personal experience. That's available at TracyHayesPodcast.com.